without further ado, let's dive into it. So what we're going to talk about now is what you actually need to put into a business plan, okay? As I said at the beginning, we're not writing a business plan here for investment, and we're not writing a business plan here to take to the bank to get funding or a loan or something like that, okay? This business plan is for you. This is for you as the owner of the business, okay, to keep yourself on track, keep yourself accountable, and know where you want to go. You can have as many goals as you want, but if you haven't got a plan and you haven't got a strategy to achieve them, it's going to be very, very difficult to actually get there, okay? Because you're going to fall off track, you're going to come off the plan and deviate, and just 1 degree of separation will mean that you're going to miss your target at the end of the journey, okay? So this is what this plan is for. It's for yourself. So what we're really going to cover are the things that you need to understand as a business owner to put in place. So I'm just going to start from the beginning and work through each section that we would suggest that you're going to put into play here in your business plan. Now, the first thing that we're going to need in our business plan is our executive summary, okay? Now, an executive summary is kind of what it says on the tin, okay? It's a summary of the business plan itself. So first things first is the trick with your summary is to write it at the end after you've written the whole of the business plan. Now that sounds really backwards because I'm starting with the thing that I'm telling you to write at the end. But your executive summary should be something that you can read through in about a minute and understand exactly where you are, who you are, and where you want to go. Now, as a business plan, that whole plan is going to answer all of those things for you. However, when you come back to revisit your business plan and keep yourself accountable, because you're going to be coming back and forth to this plan, we want a summary of the plan to be able to keep us on track, okay? So the executive summary just needs to cover everything that you've really put into the plan, all in basically 1 page, okay? We don't really want to be writing more than 1 page of executive summary for your plan. Now, this is going to cover things such as just the overview of the business, right? Who you are, who is the company, who is it made up of? We're going to overview our team, our staff. So it may be that currently my business is just me and 5 cleaners, and I would like it to be me and 2 admin staff and 20 cleaners at the end of the year. It could be that it's yourself and a team in the office and you've got 2 managers, but you want 6 managers by the end of the year, and so on and so forth, okay? So basically like a very short paragraph about your team and your staff at the moment and where you would then like that to be, okay? The planning comes in later, okay? Hence the business plan. So after we've looked at that, we're going to look at who are we serving, what is our target market, okay? This part is going to be really covered in depth in our sales and our marketing part of the plan later on, but we need to overview who we target, what types of businesses are they, and who we currently serve, okay? Is that going to shift between January and December, okay? Are you going to keep it the same? Do you need to keep it the same but spread geographically? Are you going to double down on one niche or one industry specifically? Are you offering different services to different people, okay? So just an overview of who you work with, who you want to work with, and why you want to be doing that. We then want to cover our financial overview. So where are you currently financially when it comes to turnover? Turnover obviously is the money that comes into the business over the course of the year, okay? So your annual turnover is the money that comes into business across the period of the year, okay? So where are you now? Where do you want to be? What is that target? What does that look like? What is the size of the business at the moment? And what is the size of the business that you want to be come the end of the year, okay? And then lastly, we just want to overview our goals, okay? So the goals for the year are A, B, and C. The plan that we're going to talk through next is going to be how to achieve those goals and how to actually put steps in place to get there. This is just an overview, okay? So those are the things that we want up front. Those are the things that we want in the executive summary. It's going to summarize what we're going to be putting into our plan. It's something that you can read through narrow your focus, okay, get you back on track when you feel like you're falling off track and outside of the plan, bring you central and keep you moving in the right direction, okay? Now, before we really dig into the nuts and the bolts of the plan, what I always like to put at the beginning of an annual business plan is our values and our vision, okay? Now your values are the things that hopefully you've got in place at the moment. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, right? But the values are the things that you hold kind of dear to yourself and the company and what you want to portray in the company, okay? Be integrity, communication, could be client-based thinking, it could be innovation, it could be whatever it is, okay? Like your your values should be sat at the beginning of your business plan to realign you to that. And then the vision underneath that, essentially what we want to do with our vision is work backwards. Now, Faye has done some fantastic work in the past with like vision boards and future planning and all that sort of stuff. And that's exactly what we want at the front of our business plan, okay? Our vision needs to be, where do we want to go? And not just far out in the future. I'm not talking about like when I'm 75 years old, I want to do this. We want that kind of far out, but then we want to bring those steps back and look at them in a incremental jump kind of way, okay? So there's four goals that I like to put onto my business plans, okay? The first one is 10 years. So 10 years from now, what is my target? Now, I like to really keep that to financial target and kind of size of company. They're the only real two things that I can really envision 10 years down the line, okay? So I know how big I want my business in 10 years. How I get there, it's a little bit vague that far out, okay? What I want after that is 5 years. Now, basic math would say if you want to build a £100 million company, you need to be at 50 million in 5 years, right? Not always the case, and I'm talking big numbers there, right? If you just want to get to $1 million or you want to get to 100 grand, wherever you want that to be is absolutely fine, right? You could want to get to £1 million in 10 years, it could be 100 grand in 10 years, it could be 100 million in 10 years, okay? Whatever that is, like this is your vision, okay? This is your plan for your business. So as big or as small, as conservative, as outlandish as you want, that's completely up to you. The 5-year plan, okay, can be a little bit more specific. So it could be turnover, size of business, number of employees, and maybe one more tangible goal. So like I want to be in an office, I want to have a fleet of vehicles, I want to have whatever that may be, okay? From a 5-year, I want a 3-year plan. Now a 3-year plan should be something that you can see quite clearly, okay? In 3 years, I want to be doing this amount of turnover, this much profit, I want to have this many employees, I want to be working with these types of clients, okay? And the most important one for our annual business plan is our 1-year target. So the things that we really want to put into that 1-year target is, where do we want to be financially, okay? From a turnover perspective and from a profit perspective. How many members of staff? What services do we really want to be into, okay? We want to make annual goals. And I would look to make anywhere between 3 and 5 clear, tangible annual goals, okay? So that's really what we're aiming for there. You can have more, you can have less. There's no right or wrong when it comes to how many goals you're going to have for the year. But for me, I like to have 3 to 5 annual goals I can tick off as we go through. The big one for me is financial, okay? I want to know where the business is going to be turnover-wise, and I want to know how much profit we're going to make off of that, okay? So, first things first, value missions. Now, before we dig into the nitty-gritty, we want to do a SWOT analysis of the business as it currently stands, okay? For those of you who don't know what a SWOT analysis is, essentially it's an analysis of the company that breaks it down into 4 different sections, okay? So the SWOT is an acronym, okay? So the S stands for strengths, the W stands for weaknesses, the O stands for opportunity, and the T stands for threats. So I like to draw it out in a bit of like a square with 4 little squares in between, and bullet point somewhere between like 5 and 7 in each of the squares. So strengths, they could be qualifications, it could be knowledge, it could be funding, it could be the fact that you've got great people in the business, it could be that you have an in with a big client. Like there's wherever you are, right? It's a very business specific thing. Different industries, different types of businesses will have different strengths, and you just want to note them, okay? The reason we're noting them is so they're clear and that they're tangible. After that, we want weaknesses, okay? So the weaknesses are kind of the opposite of the strengths. So is it a lack of knowledge? Is it a lack of staff? Is it a lack of staff training? Do you not have the right software? Could you lose a client because you haven't got management in place? Okay, there's lots of different weaknesses that your business have. Now, logic would say, like, I want lots of strengths and I want no weaknesses. When we're planning for the year, it's almost more important to identify the weaknesses and the threats more so than the strengths and the opportunities, because it's better to know where you are weak and where you are vulnerable as a business as opposed to where you're doing fantastic, okay? So strengths are good, we can build on strengths, but weaknesses are almost more important because we can improve. Opportunities, things like you might have a competitor that's struggling at the moment, and you can swoop in and pull some of that business away. You can have really high client satisfaction. So the opportunity there is for referrals and word of mouth business building. You could be looking at geographical expansion, and therefore that's an opportunity to bring in more business. Lots of different opportunities, okay? Take some time to think about them because they're the things we want to be driving with the business. And lastly, threats, new companies, late paying clients, cash flow, those sorts of things are threats to your business. They're things that we want to tighten up on this year, okay? So vision, values, and then a SWOT analysis of the entire business. Now, the questions that we want to ask after our SWOT analysis are, how are we going to build upon the strengths, okay? How are we going to improve the weaknesses, like close the gaps? How are we going to capitalize on our opportunities? How are we going to actually take the opportunity and make something out of it? Create more business, create more jobs, whatever it may be. And then we also want to mitigate our threats. So we want to reduce the risk as much as possible of the things in the threats list, okay? So that's our SWOT analysis. They're the questions that we need to be asking ourselves for the year. So, next, moving on to the next section of our business plan for 2024 is our financial targets. Now, for me, this is one of the biggest parts of it, because I think everybody who watches this, whether you're live now, whether you're watching on a replay, I think the biggest thing that we want to be thinking about in our business plans are the financial gains and the business growth, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody probably watching this is giving up their Thursday nights to learn about business planning because they want to grow their business and become bigger and better. So the financial targets, for me personally, are the biggest driver of the plan. So we need to understand a couple of things, okay? So the first thing we want to note in there is, what is our current turnover, okay? What is the number that the business makes every year, okay? That could be 5,000, it could be 50,000, it could be 500,000, it could be 5 million, it could be 500 million. If you're watching this and you're doing 500 million, please message me afterwards. I'd love to know how. But whatever that number is in terms of turnover, that's what we need to put there first, okay? Now, under that, we want our goal turnover. So, if you're currently at £100,000 a year in turnover, you may want to go to 400,000, okay? Maybe 200,000, which, by the way, like, if you're at 100 grand and you want to go to 200 grand, that means you're doubling the business, okay? That is a massive achievement. That is a massive target, just to double the company, okay? So, I think everybody has a tendency to go massive, and they overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 10, right? So you haven't got to jump from 10 grand a year to $1 million a year, okay? If you do that, that's going to hurt, right? that's breakneck speed. And I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit there, but this is a plan, right? We want to set goals that are achievable. We do want to push the boundaries. I'm all for aggressive growth. I'm here for you, like breaking the ceiling and like absolutely killing it. But we don't want to look at our business plan in 2 months' time and go, Jesus Christ, why did I set myself such a big target? Okay, I've bitten off more than I can chew. So think about this logically. Think about this in terms of like, what do I want to achieve in the year financially? Okay, so I want to go from, I'm currently sat at, I don't know, let's say we're at the VAT threshold, we're at about 85 grand. Well, actually, realistically, next year, I want to push my business to 150 grand a year, okay? Great, fantastic goal. Now we have something to aim for, okay? It could be as big or as small as you want. It's your business plan, it's your business, but think about it logically, because we're going to go through later how are we actually going to get there, okay? What we want to do next is we've got our turnover, that's great, okay? But turnover is vanity and profit is sanity, okay? Turnover will feed the ego and profit will feed the family at the end of the day, okay? So profit is the money that you make, not you personally, but the business actually makes. So we want to look at our current profit, okay? If you don't know what those numbers are at the moment, that's a different conversation. But we need to look at what our exact profit is at the end of the year, and then we want to look at what do we want our profit to be. Okay, if you're doing 100 grand a year and you are making a £20,000 profit, you're at 20% margins. I'm keeping the math nice and easy for you guys this evening and myself. So if you want to go to 200 grand next year, do you want to keep the profit at 20% and do 40 grand in profit, or do you want to double the percentage of profit? Okay, so if you went from 100 grand to 200 grand but kept the 20% margin, you're going from 20 grand profit to 40 grand profit. Or do you want to double your profit margin to 40% and take the business from 100 grand to 200 grand but go from £20,000 profit to £80,000 profit? Because to me that sounds better. Okay, so we want to be thinking about that. What's our current profit? What do we want that target profitability to be? And then lastly, when it comes to financial targets, is all about you, okay? So what are you making currently, right? What are you taking out of the business month on month or quarter on quarter? And what do you want that to be as well, okay? So really we want three headings, I guess 6 figures essentially. So we want current turnover and goal turnover. We want current profit and goal profit, and then we want current take home and we want goal take home. Okay, these are all numbers that are completely up to you. They're all, it's your business, it's your money. Like if you want to go from, I don't know, £1,000 a month to £2,000 a month, great. You're doubling your take home, right? If you want to go from 2 to 10, also great, okay? But we're here to build a plan that is realistic and achievable and put steps to achieve it. Like you can say, I want to go from £1,200 a month to 15 grand a month personal take home. That's great. And I'm here for you to absolutely go and smash that. But that will require massive work and massive commitment. Now, if you're ready to do that, absolutely do it. But you've got to think about what you can achieve in the course of a year, okay? So this for me is, like I say, the financial part is a big part. It's the part that I put most of my thought process into, okay? Because we're going to work everything back from there, essentially, okay? So when we look at our financial targets, so whether we're looking at the turnover financial targets, the profit, the take home, what we then need to do is we break down the annual goal into monthly goals. Okay, I'm going to keep the math nice and simple for myself still, because it's 6:30 in the evening and my brain's been working all day. So if you say you want to, let's say you're at let's say you are doing £120,000 a year in turnover and you want to do 240, okay, just because that's double, you then need to be making, you need to go from 10 grand a month to 20 grand a month, okay? Nice and straightforward. But we need to work it out backwards in terms of what do we want over the course of a year to what do we want every single month, okay? What does that look like? We then go into, we then need to break down those monthly goals into clients, okay? So, look through your clients, look what you get paid on average per client. Now you could be a domestic cleaner, you could be a commercial cleaner, you could be something completely different, but how much on average does each client pay you, okay? So let's say, and again, for real simple math for my sake, every client pays us £1,000 a month. So if you are currently doing £10,000 a month, you want to go to £20,000 a month, that means that you need an extra 10 clients per month to get there, okay? We're starting to break down those big targets, those big goals into monthly tangible things, okay? And this is the part of a business plan. Now I know if I want to go from 120 to 240, that's doubling the business, which means I need to go from 10 grand a month to 20 grand a month. Everybody pays me £1,000, so therefore I need 10 more clients per month, okay? So we're working ourselves backwards to work out what we need to add to the business. Then really what we want to do from there, and this starts to lean into sales a little bit, but there's a whole sales section, is what do we need to do to get those clients? If I need an extra 10 clients a month, what does it take for me to get 10 clients a month? Because this is the part now, when we start to get into the micro, this is where you feel like you're winging it because you don't know, I say you, if you're watching this and you do know, then great. The people that I talk to a lot don't know what the micro actions are to get 10 clients a month, okay? But we want to look at what we're doing to get the clients that we've already got. Is it networking? Is it cold calling? Is it emails? How many of those are we doing to get one client, okay? So if we want to get an extra 10 a month, what do we need? What are the actions? What are the inputs that we need to do to get one client? And then we just times that by 10, okay? Now that's not an exact science, but we can generally say if I make 100 calls, I will get a new client. If I send 200 emails, I will get a new client. If I ask for 50 referrals, I will get a new client. If I go to 5 networking events, on average, I get a new client, okay? And this all comes down to tracking what you're doing and then comparing, okay? But we'll touch on that in a second. I think ultimately, like, as we start to steer into the accountability and the actions that we need to take, this is what Faye's going to talk about either, where are we, 6:30, probably tomorrow on the course that we're on at the moment, maybe later, but this is what Faye's going to really go into, okay? How to do these things every day and make sure we're staying on track, okay? Making sure we're accountable and doing the things that we say that we're going to do in the business plan. That's what Faye's going to go into tomorrow, okay? But really, from a financial perspective and a breakdown, we want to find out, let's break down the annual goal into monthly goals. Let's break down the monthly goals into increases of clients, okay? And you may say, well, actually, not all of my clients pay me the same amount of money. Some pay me £20 a month, some pay me £2,000 a month. That's fine, let's take the average, okay? So in that scenario, like on average, like they might pay you £600. Well, if each client is worth £600 to you, how many of those do you need to hit that financial target, okay? We've got a sales board, we've got monthly targets, okay? We know roughly how much each client is worth to us on average, and then we just strike them off as we get them, okay? As we get them come through the door. So we've got some sort of visual to how we're actually going to achieve our target. So that kind of leads me quite nicely into the next part of the business plan, which is our sales, okay? This is our sales strategy. I love sales, I could talk to you all night about sales, but I'm going to keep it to what I would be putting in this plan. So the first thing that we're going to do when it comes to sales, because it's a topic all within itself, we're going to do another SWOT analysis on our current sales process, okay? What happens when it comes to selling our services? What are we good at? What are our strengths, okay? What are our weaknesses? What are the opportunities that we have? And what are the threats that we have, okay? So for me, for those of you who don't know me, I run a fairly large commercial cleaning business and industrial cleaning business. So it might look like our strengths are that we've got a really good sales team in place who really know their stuff. Our weakness is that there is lots of competition. The opportunities that we may have is that we are offering different services to a different demographic, which could add on additional revenue. And the threats could be top of the head, the new or the increase in the national living wage coming in next year, which may mean some clients cancel, okay? That's a SWOT analysis of our sales, okay? We may not, let me be a little bit more specific on that last one, we may not hit our turnover goals because we may have clients cancel, which kind of cancels out the sales that we're making, okay? So very specific when it comes to sales. Now, we're then going to look at who are we targeting? Because a lot of people, a lot of business owners don't actually know who their clients are. And what I mean by don't know who their clients are, I don't mean they don't know Janet, who they've been doing cleaning for forever. What I mean is they don't know what their ideal client actually looks like, okay? So who are our ideal clients? What are their job roles? What businesses do they work in? How old are they? Where do they hang out online? What areas are they in? How much money do they spend? What is the structure of the business? How many people work in those companies? What types of facilities are they in? Okay, so we really want to dial down on who are our ideal clients. What do they look like? You may be breaking into new industries this year and you might not be 100% sure, but you've definitely got clients that you love working with at the moment that pay you decent money, okay? That's your ideal client. That for you at the moment is who your ideal client should be and who your target should be, okay? So first things first is take some time to understand who your ideal client looks like. Because when you're lost, okay, next June, okay, when this call is a distant memory to you, but you've got your plan written down and you're thinking to yourself, well, who should I be talking to? Who am I supposed to talk to? What are the job roles I'm supposed to talk to? We had it on our inner circle call last night. One of the questions was, who should I be targeting for biohazard cleaning? Well, if you've got an ideal client breakdown, you haven't got to ask that question. It's right there. These are my ideal clients. These are their job roles. This is what they look like. This is how much they get, how many people are in the business, okay? So that's why we want to do that. Moving from that, and I kind of alluded to it there, is how do we get to them? How do we break through to our ideal clients, okay? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Do they use no social media at all and I need to email them? Are they at networking events? Are they at trade shows? Are they, I don't know. Like there's a million different ways that you can break through to different people, okay? Are they 20-year-olds on TikTok? Are they 50-year-olds on LinkedIn? Do they use Facebook to buy? Do they only buy through a procurement process? Do they walk in and purchase off the shelf? Whatever, okay? But you need to know how your ideal clients purchase and where, because that is where we're going to target. When everybody says, well, who do I target? How do I get through to them? Understanding who those ideal clients are and where they spend their time and attention is absolutely key. So you can pull this business plan up and you go, oh yes, I'm looking for practice managers that work in medical centres, and all of the people that I currently work with have come from emailing them. Right, great. Now I know how to go get more of my ideal clients. And that will give you clarity when you're in this brain fog, feeling like you're winging it, feel like nothing's working. You'll have that clarity in your business plan. So I said there about emailing your ideal client profile. What we then want to look at in the business plan is, how am I going to get through to them, okay? What sales methods are we going to use in 2024? Now, you're probably going to say, actually, I'm going to use absolutely everything that I possibly can to get through to the right person, which is fantastic. And if you've got all the time in the world, I implore you to use everything you possibly can. However, I'm sure that you don't and you won't, okay? What tends to happen is you'll get a little bit of success doing some calling, and then it will fall off and you'll go, right, this doesn't work, I need to do emails. And then you get a little bit of success and then it falls off, and right now I need to run paid ads. And you do that a little bit and it doesn't really work, I'm going to do SEO. And this takes too long, I'm going to go and do direct mail. It doesn't really work anymore, I'm going to go and do networking events, right? And people will flit around. I keep saying you as if I'm talking directly to you watching this. I'm sorry, I'm not calling you out. People will flit around to different ways of business development, and none of them will work because they're not spending enough time and attention on one thing. I've just listed off 6 different things that you could do, but if you stayed on the first one, which was whatever it was I said, cold calling, I think, right? And you did that instead of doing 6 different things, you will get success there, okay? You'll get success doing emailing, you'll get success doing direct mail, you'll get success going networking, okay? If you can use a handful of these things consistently and effectively, great. But pick them and stick with them, okay? Yes, you can go and try different things, but ultimately, like, to do sales, to get sales consistently, you need to stick at a certain type of thing, okay? So looking at your ideal client profile, understanding where and how they buy, and then tailoring your outreach, your sales efforts to those types of people is really the core of your sales, okay? Now, I'm not saying that you only sell to your ideal client profile, okay? You can take that a step outside. You'll get stuff coming from different areas. You may get success doing different things, but you need a core of your sales efforts and your sales process. Unless you're sat there with a sales team of 10 different people who can go in different directions, if it's probably yourself or maybe 1 or 2 others doing sales, stick to a core and follow that and put all of your effort into that, okay? I've lost where I am. Now, on the back of that, you've set your financial targets. So to hit those financial targets, what sales inputs do you need to do? Okay, if you want to double your bid, let's say you want to go from 100 grand to 500 grand. Okay, so you need to bring in £400,000 worth of work this year. Realistically, what are the sales inputs that you have to do to get that? If each client is worth £1,000 a month to you, okay, actually, let's say they're worth £10,000 a year to you, like, you need to bring in 40 clients, right? To get 40 clients, how many emails do you need to send? How many calls do you need to make? How many networking events do you need to go to? How many sales packs do you need to send out in the post? How many people do you need to get walking through the door, okay? You can see how these things now start to mold in together, okay? So we have our financial target and we have our sales methods. How many of those do we need to do to get the client, okay? And this is where we start to work backwards, and this is where the accountability comes into it. This is where the actual plan comes in. So it may be that I want to bring in an extra 10 clients a month, and therefore to get a client, I know that I need to do, let's say, 200 inputs of either emails or calls, or LinkedIn messages. Okay, so they're my 3 core things. I need to do 200 of them to roughly get me a new client. Okay, so I need to do 200 of them to get me a new client. I need to get 10 new clients a month, which means I need to do this many a week and this many a day. And then you can start to build a bit of a sales input targets and sales input KPIs to get the output. Okay, I hope this is making sense for you. I'm trying to break it down to nice, manageable chunks day to day. Okay. And then on the top of that, do we need training? Have we got the resources that we need to be able to effectively make those sales? Okay, it's all well and good me saying pick up the phone a million times and you'll get new business, but do you know how to cold call? Do you know how to write an email? Do you know how to pitch your services at a networking event? Do you know how to get people through the front door? If that's a no, do you need training? Right? And if you need training, that needs to go in the business plan, because that needs to be built into, these are the things that I need to do the inputs to hit the financial target. Okay, so is there training? Is there something that needs to precede the input to get the outcome? Okay, so is there training? Is there software? Is there knowledge? Are there skills that I need to be able to do these things to get to where I want to go? That is kind of that's the sales section of your business plan. So they're the inputs that we need to be doing to be moving towards our turnover and our profit targets. Okay. Now the next part is our marketing strategy. So sales and marketing are two different things. They play into one another, but ultimately they are two different things. So we've got our sales, okay, we know who we want to target, where they are, the core things that we're going to be doing, the inputs that we need to do to achieve the growth that we want, and then are there anything that needs to go into our skills and our development to know how to do those things to get to the target. Marketing is separate to that, okay? So we're going to start the marketing part of the business plan in the same way that we will the sales, okay? So we're going to do another SWOT analysis, our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities and our threats, so that we are aware of our current position when it comes to marketing. Now, you may say to yourself, I'm not very good at marketing, I haven't really got any strengths, I've got a ton of weaknesses, can't see any opportunities, and I think we've got threats, right? Like a threat of a load of staff leaving, and me, because I'm the entrepreneur and I wear all the hats in the business, I'm going to have to go and do the service delivery part of the business, and I'm not going to be able to market, right? That's a threat, okay? Strengths might be that you've got support, you've got training, you've got resource, and you know what to be putting out in terms of that marketing. Could be that you've got someone in the business who does your marketing for you. Your weaknesses could be that you haven't got any of that. So again, we're going to do another analysis to know where exactly we are, what do we need to improve on, what do we need to double down on, what opportunities do we need to make the most of, and what threats do we need to mitigate, okay? Then we're going to look at what marketing channels are we going to use, because marketing is such a broad topic. And again, like I could sit here for the rest of the night talking to you about marketing. Faye could sit and talk to you about it for the rest of the week, right? But we need to narrow it down to what do we actually need to do as a part of our plan for 2024. So very much like our sales channels, there's a million different sales channels that we could use. There are different marketing channels as well. So we need to decide, how do we get in front of the right people that we want to sell to? So a couple of those could be lead generation from your website, okay? So do we build a fantastic website with lots of CTAs, which are call to actions, and drive people to the website to collect leads to then go and sell to, okay? If you are going to do that, fantastic. It's a great way of generating leads. Can be tricky because you need to be giving away stuff that people feel is worth giving away their information to you. And then the question is, how do you drive people to the website in the first place? Because that's difficult, driving people there, because there's a lot of attention and money that goes into trying to get people there. So is that your strategy? Good website, drive people to it, collect leads to then sell. Do you just build a website and build on your SEO? You could do both, by the way. There's nothing saying you can't do both. But do you build on your SEO? SEO is a very long game, okay? I think a lot of people, from my experience, think that SEO is a short-term thing. They'll chuck £1,000 a month at it. They'll do it for 3 months. They won't rank first on Google. They'll stop SEO. Nothing will change other than the fact you're now £3,000 down. If you're going to go down SEO, commit to it a minimum for the year. Okay, 18 months is kind of the absolute minimum, really, 12 to 18 months. Because that's what it needs, right? There's a lot of people out there with big budgets. So to play an SEO game is a long game. It works, like SEO works, but it's a long game. To shortcut that, are you going to go down a paid ads and a PPC route, okay? Pay per click. So this is Google ads, this is Facebook ads, this is YouTube ads, TikTok ads, Instagram ads, pay per click, or just paid ads in general. Are you going to do that instead? So essentially, are you going to take budget, are you going to take money, and are you going to consistently spend that on these platforms to drive eyeballs to your website, to your landing page, to your free thing, whatever it might be. Great marketing strategy. We've used a lot of PPC and paid ads. Works really well, does generate you leads, does cost you money, okay? You do need to know what you're doing when it comes to paid ads, or you need to pay someone who knows what they're doing, which is more expensive. If you've got the budget, great, fantastic. But again, this is why we're planning. This is why we're looking into it. It could be something that you look into as a part of your business plan and decide it's too expensive for you, or you want to go a different way, okay? So that's another thing that we could do this year to market the business. Notice how I'm talking about in long periods of time here, okay? A business plan should be something that you commit to for the whole of 2024, okay? If you're gonna do paid ads, commit to it. If you're gonna run SEO, commit to it. If you're gonna build your website and drive leads to it, commit to that, okay? Or drive people to get leads, commit to it. This should be a plan for the year. This is strategy that we're talking about. This is not, let's try it for 3 weeks and see if it works, okay? So long periods of time we're thinking in here. And lastly, and probably the best, or probably my favorite at least, because people will say the best is different things, my favorite is content, okay? When it comes to marketing strategy, content is my favorite thing to do. Be everywhere, be in front of everybody, put out good content, build personal brand, build business brand, and you will drive organic, free for the most part, eyeballs to you and your business. I personally, I love social media growth as a business, the organic traction that you get off of it, and once you have that traction, you can then put a little bit of budget behind that and start to run some of the paid ads behind some of the content to really get more eyeballs, more leads, more traffic, all that sort of good stuff, okay? Personal brand as well, like building that personal brand is ridiculous ROI, okay, for your business. In the growth team this week, we've been doing a challenge about posting up personal stories on your company or like the face behind the business. We've had people getting leads, new customers, the best growth that they've seen their business this year. Like ridiculous results. Building personal brand behind business brands through content in the place that your target market are. So be that a social media platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, YouTube. Building that brand for your business and yourself, putting out content it's a no-brainer, okay? But this is why we're here. This is to plan what we're going to do. Now, if you do go down that route, I would be looking at putting goals in place for our social media growth. So maybe you've got 500 followers at the moment and you want to get to 5,000, or you're at 1,000, you want to get to 100,000, like whatever it is. It works the same way as the financial figures, okay? Don't set ridiculous goals that you're never going to achieve, and in 3 months' time you're going to say, like, why did I do that? Let's put things in place that we can actually work backwards from, okay? So every reel that we post, we tend to get 5 new followers. I want to get an extra 50 new followers, therefore I need to post 10 reels, okay? Is that achievable? Yes, no, maybe. this is why we're planning, okay? 50 new followers might mean 1 new client, okay? So you can see how content translates to eyeballs, eyeballs translate to sales, essentially. Okay, so that's how the content game works. Again, content is a long kind of thing. You're building brand, you're building reputation, you're getting attention. So it's not something that you're going to do twice and all of a sudden you're hitting your financial targets. This is why we're planning for the year, okay? I'm all out of coffee, so I'm going to have to drink out my water bottle, sorry. Hefty water bottle. So, if we're going to be looking at that, if we're going to be looking at that content game, when are we going to make the content? What content are we going to make? Who are we targeting? Does that play into our ICP? Are we giving stuff that is either informative or entertaining? What does that look like? Put together a bit of a content plan and a content strategy so that there are, again, tangible things that you can hold yourself accountable to. If we're saying that we're going to use content as our main marketing strategy, how many pieces of content are we going to put out a month, a week, a day? Where does that need to go? Can we hold ourselves accountable to that? Okay. So again, we're planning for that. So whatever your marketing strategy looks like, we're going to look at where we are at the moment, do that assessment, try and capitalize on those strengths, tighten up on the weaknesses, jump on the opportunities so we can build and then we mitigate our threats. We need to understand what channels of marketing we're going to use. This is why we're planning. We're not going to do paid ads for 3 weeks and then SEO for 4 weeks and then content for a month and then whatever else and then cycle back round to the beginning, okay? Because then none of it will work. We're gonna say I'm going to do this thing and this thing for the year. And I promise you, by the time you get to month 6, 8, 10, this will start to work, okay? So I'm not selling you a get rich quick thing here, like I'm not selling you anything, but this is what we are doing. We're planning for the year. So that's marketing. Now I'm going to dig into the operation side of things, okay? Now let's not forget, just to go back to the beginning, we are planning here, we are planning 2024 for you, not for investment, not for people who don't know your business, not for the bank, not for anything else. This is for you, okay? So you may look at other business plans, you might look at like whatever there is out there. A lot of business plans are for investing, it's for other people who don't know the business. This is for you to hold yourself accountable, to hit the targets you want to hit, okay? So this is why we're not talking about like total, like your TAM and your LTV and all that sort of like your total addressable market, your lifetime value, like you know these things, you know the total addressable market, you know your lifetime value with clients. We're looking at what is going to keep us on track to hit our goals this year, okay? So the next thing is our operations, okay? And mainly our structure and our staffing is really what we want to put into our business plan. So first of all, what is our current staffing? How many people do we have in the business? What does the current structure look like? Is it just yourself sat at your laptop working your ass off? Is it yourself and a manager and a supervisor with, I know there's lots of cleaning companies here, so have you got like 10 cleaners out on the ground? What is the current operational structure of the business? Okay, whether it's massive, whether it's really small, great, you're in business, you're doing better than 95% of other people, but what does that look like? Oh, look at that. What did I do? I put my thumbs up. What happened? I'm intrigued. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Amazing. Anyway, right. Honestly, I'm so easily distracted. So after we look at current staffing, we're then going to look at where do we want the business to be in terms of size, okay, so turnover and profit, and those things that we've already looked at. What does the business need to look like in terms of staffing and structure to hit those targets? If you're currently at 100 grand a year and you want to get to 500 grand a year, are you going to be able to do that with the people that you currently have? The answer is probably no, okay? You don't necessarily, just because you want to 5x your turnover, doesn't necessarily mean that you need to 5x your staffing, but it does mean that you're probably going to need other people in the business. And more so, the biggest hack, I'll give you this for nothing, okay? The biggest hack in business that I have gone through, I've hired staff, I've grown, like, I've doubled my business now for the last 3 years in a row. And the thing that does it consistently is people. And I don't mean volume of people, it's the knowledge, okay? Pay more for people who have already done the thing that you want to do. If you want to grow your business to £500,000, hire someone who has worked in a business that does £500,000. I cannot give you any better hack than that, I promise you, okay? If you want to be at £1 million a year, hire someone who's worked in £1 million a year business, okay? If you want to bring in an extra 10 clients a month that are paying you £1,000 each, hire a salesperson who has done that, okay? Because they know how to do it. If you hire people that know less than you are not bringing in any knowledge into your business at all. Knowledge is the thing that grows the business. So that's the biggest thing I can give you. Like, hire people who have done the thing that you want to do. That's it. I'll get off my soapbox now and get back to the business plan. So what does the staffing and the structure of the business need to look like to where you need to get to? And what is the hiring process of those people? Okay, because it's all well and good getting to a point going, oh shit, we need an admin person. Like, quick, like bring in my niece or my nephew, like, or you've got a friend, bring them in. Guess what? They don't know any more than you, which means you're not actually growing the business. You're just bringing in some hired help, okay? So start thinking about who you need to get to where you want to go and how you're going to get there. Are you going to use an agency? If so, what agency? How much do they charge? Are you going to post on job boards? If you are, which ones, okay? Is the talent that you want on those job boards? Do you want to go to Indeed? Do you want to go to Reed? Do you want to go to CV Library? Like, where is the talent for the people that you're going to need to get you to where you want to go? Are you going to go headhunting? Which, by the way, if you want managerial people, definitely go headhunting, but decision is yours. Where are you headhunting? Are you headhunting on LinkedIn? Are you walking into businesses and literally poaching people off of the chairs that they sit on? Are you going on Facebook or wherever, okay? But are you going to headhunt? Are you going to use an agency? Are you going to use job boards? Think about it now, because we're planning, okay? This is the point. If you want to get to 500 grand a year and you know that you're going to incrementally do the sales actions that add you an extra £1,000 a quarter, £100,000 a quarter, then you know that the business is going to be this much busier in this many months, then what is the right time to hire these people? Okay, if I take my business from £100,000 to £250,000 in half a year, I'm probably going to be significantly busier. I'm also going to have the money to pay for this person, because I'm sure you're listening to this thinking, Ashley, I haven't got the money at the moment to bring in somebody who is better than me to help me get there. No shit. You're going to get to the point to know, right, now I can pay this salary to get this type of person to help me go from, you've gone from A to B, but to get from B to C, you need this type of person. They're going to cost you this type of money, and they can get you to there, okay? So again, this needs thought. What point of the business do we bring these people in, okay? And this is the whole point of the structure and the staffing part of the business plan. When we get to this point, we hire this type of person to help us get to the other half or the other quarter or the other third of our financial target for the year, okay? We're not doing too bad for time. I do think though, just to hop in here, as I said at the beginning, Faye was going to jump on afterwards. We've probably got another 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. So, no, probably 15. I would imagine Faye will come on tomorrow and do her half of the business planning session to go through the accountability, the backwards building of the plan, because I want you guys to all absorb it and take it all in. Okay, so we'll probably do that. So the thing that is going to pull these things together, and I'm just going to recap before I do that, is the first thing we obviously looked at is our values, our vision. We want to make sure we know where we're going, what we want to do. Okay. We've then analysed the business in terms of where we are currently to understand our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the business. Okay. We have then dug into our financial targets. For me, what I think is the biggest part of the business plan. Okay. Where do we want to get to by the end of the year? How much turnover, how much profit, how much take home do we want? Okay, we've then worked that backwards from annuals to monthlies to individual clients. Okay, we've then looked at the sales inputs, the types of people that we want to target, how we're going to target them, where they are, how we're going to break through to them. And then we've looked at what inputs need to happen to those sales things to get those right people. And then we've looked at the foundations of that. Do we need training? Do we need resource? Do we need CRMs? Do we need that sort of stuff to be able to do those things to get to there? We've then looked at the marketing. How do we get in front of the most amount of people possible to generate leads, to get in front of people, to build brand, to be top of mind, because that's all part of business growth. We've then looked at if we're going to grow the business in that direction, who do we need in the company? At what point do we need to bring those people in? Where are we getting those people from? And what does the whole structure and the staffing need to look like to get to our financial targets? And then really what we're going to look at then, kind of lastly, is our KPIs, okay, which are our key performance indicators. Because we're going to have this plan in place of driving the business forwards. And we're going to know what we need to kind of put into that and who we need to put into that to get to where we want to go. But how do we know if we're going in the right direction? Okay. I said at the beginning, we can only manage what we measure, right? And I'm a big believer of having the data. Okay, I'm going to get really boring for you here, but this is what grows a business. Okay. We need the data to understand what works and what doesn't work, okay? What is pushing us forwards, what is not? What are we wasting money on? What are we getting ROI on, return on investment, okay? We don't know that unless we're measuring. And to measure, we need KPIs, okay? Key performance indicators. So for myself, what I have is a dashboard, okay? I will sit in front of my dashboard and my team will plug in all of the numbers. So at the click of a button, I can see if the business is going in the right direction or not, okay? Are we financially growing? Are we building our profit in the right direction? Are we hiring the right staff? Are we hiring people quick enough? All these things, okay, at the click of a button. Now, that's great, like at scale, like we can do that. I'm sure you're listening to me thinking, well, Ashley, I'm half out on the tools, I'm half trying to chase people to bloody pay me. I haven't got time to build fancy dashboards and whatever. That's fine. Like, that's not an issue. I'm not expecting people to invest in software or whatever. But what we need to understand is, are we moving the business in the right direction? Because unfortunately, I've spoken to enough business owners this year that we're doing all of they're doing inputs, they're doing stuff, right? But they're just going round in a circle because we're not measuring. If we don't measure, we do not know what we're doing, right? We don't know whether we're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. We don't know if the turnover is going up. We don't know if our profitability is going up. We don't know if our client satisfaction is going up, our staff satisfaction is going up or down, okay? Is the business growing? Is the business flatlining? Is the business shrinking? Who knows unless we measure it, okay? So KPIs are how we do this. So the first thing that we want to do here is decide what we want to measure. We could measure everything. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a big believer in measuring everything. But it's a waste of time, right? To be able to measure absolutely everything. So we need to understand what's key. Now, for me, the things that we've talked about so far in this business plan, okay, are the types of things that we want to measure. Trust me, there's method to the madness. So the first thing that we obviously want to measure are those financial targets. Okay, it's the financial goals that we're moving towards. So the three things that we've we've covered off, like we said, that need to go in the business plan are the turnover targets, the profitability targets, the take-home targets. Okay, to know if they are improving and moving towards your goal, we need to measure them. Okay. Now, when it comes to turnover and profitability, I would recommend measuring this every month. If we do it on a weekly basis, it doesn't give us a true representation and can kind of throw us off, okay? So I'd recommend doing this every month. Get somebody else who's dealing with it, get your accountant, get your bookkeeper, or do it yourself to plug a number into a spreadsheet at the beginning of every month for the previous month to see where the turnover was or where the turnover is, okay? You can look at the monthly turnover, so you might do, 20 grand a month, going back to our example earlier. Is this going, every month going 20 grand, 21, 22, 23, 24? Great, we're moving in the right direction. Is it going in the wrong direction? Are we losing stuff? What you could also do under that, and I like this one, is our run rate, okay? A run rate is what is the turnover, sorry, excuse me. I'm starting to lose it. I've done well so far. A run rate is if we make the same money every month as we have now, okay, so in the month of whatever we are now, we're still in November. In the month of November, if we make the same amount of money that we have now, what will the turnover be in the period of 12 months in the future, okay? I like run rate a lot because it gives a good representation of business growth, okay? So I would have monthly turnover, I would put run rate in there because I like it personally. And then our profitability, is that going up? Is it going down? Is it staying the same? Are we moving towards our targets? We need to measure all of them monthly, okay? I would then look at staff retention and time to hire. Are we hiring people quick enough? Are we keeping them in the business quick enough? Okay. If we're hiring people fast but they're not staying very long, there's a problem somewhere. Okay. We can all point fingers and we can all say staff are shit, they don't turn up, they're unreliable, but we're business owners. At the end of the day, it's our fault. Okay. Everything that we do in our business is our fault. If staff don't turn up, if staff don't want to work for you, if staff don't stay very long, that's our fault, right? It's your business at the end of the day. Let's take accountability and understand why people are leaving. Why are our retention rates not very good, okay? Are we doing crap inductions? Are we not talking to our staff members enough? Are we not doing check-ins? Have they not got a point of contact, okay? Yes, you're going to get people who come in and are just generally useless and you need to let them go, or they just don't show up. Fine, right? But like, I promise you that it's probably 50-50, right? If you're hiring people on a regular basis, 50% of those people aren't staying in the business because of the way the business is, right? It's like, so we got to measure it. We've got to measure what the retention rate is and why, okay? So we can improve. So that on our SWOT analysis, we can say a strength in the business is that we've got good high retention rates, and therefore we don't need to spend money on recruitment, okay? On the flip side of that, if your retention rates are not very good, your weakness is that your retention rates are not very good, and your threat is that you're spending way too much money on recruitment, okay? So we need to measure it so we can improve it. Again, time to hire. Are we hiring people in quick enough? Right? Are we getting people through the door quick enough? And we want to see that number come down, right? If you're waiting 4 weeks on average to hire someone, that's too long, right? So like, can we get those 4 weeks down to 3 weeks, and then down to 2 weeks, and then down to a week, right? So, but again, we don't know what that is. I can tell you off the back of my hand how long it takes on average to hire people into my company because it's on my dashboard, okay? Are we going in the right direction? What you can also do, by the way, with that information is for next year, you can look at the trends. So it may be that in the summer, you hire people really quickly, but then come to the winter, takes a really long time. So you know for next year, to try and, you don't need to put so much time and attention into your recruitment throughout the summer because you can get people quickly. And by the way, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, just an example, but you do need to put a lot of attention into the winter months because it's difficult to get people, okay? So you can look at these figures and these KPIs historically so that you know what's coming in the future, okay? And then the other two that I like to measure is client satisfaction and staff satisfaction, okay? Is the business growing positively with brand and client satisfaction, okay? If your client satisfaction is high, you know that you can ask for referrals. If your client satisfaction is low, it means that you need to go and do something about it before you lose those clients, okay? But we don't know if they're happy or they're sad if we're not measuring it and we're not getting feedback, okay? So client satisfaction is one that we measure quite a lot. And then staff satisfaction means, are your staff in a good place? Are they going to shout about you? Have you got good employer brand? Okay, or are they really negative and they're probably going to leave the business? Okay, and this is a trailing indicator as to whether your retention rates are going to go up and down as well. Okay, so you can see there, like with those KPIs throughout the business. And by the way, they're just the ones that I like. Okay, I've got a couple more myself as well, but they're just the ones that I like. I also like to put in CAC, which is cost of acquisition, which means how much does it cost me to get a client? Because if a client is worth to me £1,000 and it costs me £1,000 to get them, then I need to figure something out because we're not doing a very good job. I like LTV, what is the lifetime value generally of our clients, but I'm not going to, like, it gets technical, it gets mathematical, and I don't want to confuse anybody, okay? So pick the things that you want to know about the business that you're building into the business plans. Financial targets, sales targets and actions, marketing goals, people goals, okay? They're the 4 things that I would build into those KPIs. If you could do a whole spreadsheet of about 1 billion different things you want to measure. I promise you'll get a month in, you'll get bored of doing it, you won't do it again, you won't have any measurements, okay? Keep it to 5 to 10 things. I would lean more towards 5, 5, 6, 7 things that you measure, in the business that tell you whether your business is doing well and moving towards your targets that you've got here in your business plan, whether your business is not doing well and you need to turn things around and really assess whether you need to make dynamic changes to your business plan to push it back in the right direction, okay? So KPIs are key to make sure that all of the things that you've just written down, that you've got in your business plan, actually get done, okay? So overall, once you've got all of these things, sorry guys, excuse me. Once you've got all of these things, going back to the beginning, we can then write our executive summary. We can then say, this is my business, this is who we serve, these are what our ideal clients look like, these are the areas that we work within, these are the these are the marketing strategies that we want to use this year, these are the sales strategies that we want to use this year, this is how we want to grow the business with people, and this is how we're going to measure getting to our targets and our goals, okay? So those are the pillars that we want to see in the business plans. This is what I will be putting into my business plan for 2024. They're the key things for you as a business owner and maybe the key stakeholders within the business to go and grow the company and get to where you want to be, okay? Setting those far out goals, setting the things that are far in the future, the 10 years, the 5 years, the 3 years, and then having the really tangible things at 1 year in the future to really give the business plan direction, okay? Having that vision for 1 year's time, having the vision for 3 years' time, they're really key to really to tailor your business plan to push you to where you want to be, and then breaking those goals down into the sales actions you need to do, the marketing actions you need to do, and then the structure that you need to build behind that to be able to do those things, and probably most importantly, measuring that to make sure you're going in the right direction, okay? They're the things, they're the headings, they're the bullet points, they are the things that I would put into my business plan, and hopefully that's giving you some real good clarity to write a relatively straightforward but clear, tangible and accountable business plan for 2024.